To finish off our four-part pro-life series, remember that St. John Paul II believed that the culture of death primarily sees people as objects. So just to review the kind of four sins we covered. So contraception, it reinforces a mentality that children are not gifts. They can be an obstacle to my happiness. And then abortion says, well, I don't want that gift, and because I'm not ready, I can terminate it. And then in vitro fertilization reverses that. It says, well, I want a baby now because I want to be happy, so I can make one. And then euthanasia, it says, well, this person is no longer useful, so we can kill him or her. In 2024, there was a BBC documentary in which an activist for people with disabilities interviewed a Vancouver doctor named Ellen Wiebe.
How many maid deaths have you been involved with?
Over 400.
That sounds like a lot. Is that what you do now? Is that
No, I still run a contraception and abortion clinic in addition to my maid work.
In your experience, what do you think is the number one reason that people want maid?
The number one reason is autonomy, control.
And what?
And everybody's different in what they think of as autonomy and control.
Yeah. So that would be about not wanting to lose that in their lives. Apart from the fact I don't have the desire, I think probably I would be eligible under the Canadian law.
Well, you'd have to be suffering unbearably, and you'd have to convince me that you were suffering unbearably.
And from what you said, don't worry, I know you're not going to do anything here now. I'm not at all.
I'm not scared.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
So, Liz, right now you love life and you want to live. But there's lots of nasty illnesses you might get.
Yeah.
And if you got terminal cancer and you were having to deal with chemotherapy and radiation, wouldn't you be thrilled that if you had the choice to say, I'll go this far and no further?
For me, I'm concerned that giving the option and the right to a group of people puts another group of people at risk. But I don't feel that you see that as a worry.
We're going to meditate on the first reading from Sirach, and we're going to focus on two realities in it, the reality of freedom and then the reality of wisdom. So the reading says, if you choose, you can keep the commandments, and they will save you. If you trust in God, you too shall live, and to act faithfully is a matter of your own choice. The Lord has placed before you fire and water. Stretch out your hand for whichever you choose. Before each person are life and death, good and evil, and whichever one chooses, that shall be given. For great is the wisdom of the Lord. He has not commanded anyone to sin, and he has not given anyone permission to sin. So when we look at the whole text, we see 4 times the words choice or choose. So God has given us the great gift of freedom so that we can freely choose to love. He doesn't want us to just do it automatically. We choose it. And so even when life is difficult, we can choose the culture of life. And the culture of life sees people not as an object, but primarily as persons. And then choice is not just about doing whatever we want. It's about recognizing wisdom. Wisdom says there's right and wrong, there's good and evil. So we can see that in the text, the alternatives shown. You see commandments and acting faithfully as opposed to sin. And then you see life and death, good and evil, symbolically portrayed, represented as fire and water. Last December 30th, a man named Keanu Vafayan, he killed himself with the assistance of Dr. Wiebe. He was only 26 years old, suffering from blindness in one eye and depressed. So he was not dying, and he needed help. He did not need death. He tried to take his own life in 2022, but his mother, Margaret, she and her family stepped in to help him. After his death in December, Margaret is dedicating her whole self to fighting against the culture of death and promoting a culture of life. So she says, The actions of Dr. Ellen Wiebe reveal a pattern of coldness and disregard for vulnerable human life that I can no longer stay silent about. Just that scary smile shows her entitlement for taking people's lives. This is not healthcare. This is a failure of ethics, accountability, and humanity. No parent should ever have to bury their child because a system and a doctor chose death over care, help, or love. Last year in the United Kingdom, the House of Commons passed a bill to legalize euthanasia, but recently and beautifully, the House of Lords raised so many objections that the bill might not pass. There have been so many horror stories coming out of Canada that one article asked the question, does the United Kingdom with this bill want to become Canada or not? Archbishop Smith is so horrified by euthanasia that he wants Catholics to know about a decision made by Archbishop Miller in 2017. The decision is, if a Catholic chooses MAID, they will be denied a Catholic funeral. So we're still going to pray for them, we still love them, and we're going to offer Mass for them, but we have to be clear. MAID is about the killing of an innocent person. So Archbishop Miller wrote this: in the case of euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide, this final action of a person's life has been chosen in violation of the clear teachings of the Church. It is an act which expresses a serious defect in belief and in unity with the faithful. It is not a death like Christ's. Some family members may have disagreed with their loved one's decision and now feel morally conflicted because of it. It is the Church's practice that a Catholic funeral Mass is not appropriate when such a wrongful act has taken place. This does not apply to most cases of suicide, when a person doesn't know what he or she is really doing. But MAID is very different. So Archbishop Miller says, MAID is presented as fully reasonable. It has its own eligibility requirements, including multiple assessments, a waiting period, after the decision has been made. Our faith requires us to be clear and consistent. We do not approve or condone in any way euthanasia. The first reading, Sirach, comes from a group of books in the Old Testament called the wisdom books, the wisdom literature. And most of these books were written in a time period between 400 and 100 BC. And what was happening around that time period, it was that Jewish faith was coming into contact with Greek philosophy. So what was happening was that faith and reason were starting to merge, and we can see it here in this reading. So one thing about the culture of life is we follow what is being revealed by God, faith, but we also try to be reasonable. We try to be very consistent. So for example, if a woman has a miscarriage, everyone's sad about the miscarriage because we know that a baby has died. So it's not a blob of cells, there's something sad. But for the culture of death, there's an inconsistency. So our society says, okay, if you have a baby who's born prematurely, we do everything we can to help that baby. Makes sense. But as soon as someone says, well, I don't want that baby anymore, suddenly we're okay with abortion. Like it's not a baby anymore. Doesn't make sense. Here's our annual statistics of leading causes of death in the world according to Worldometer. So let's look at the right-hand column. It says abortions accounts for 73 million deaths every year in the whole world. And then if we look at the left, we see all the other causes of death. You see heart disease at the top, 17 million, and so on. At the bottom, you'll see, I put this every year, boring homilies. So thank God, deaths by boring homilies has decreased this year. It is true that people faint because of my homilies, but there have been no recorded deaths. But when you look at all those deaths put together, they add to 61.5 million altogether. So they don't even add up to all abortions together. So for those of us, can we leave it on, please? For those of us who believe that abortion is murder, this is the reason why we believe this is the #1 moral issue of our day, because it's killing the most people. We're just trying to be consistent. So what can we do to choose the culture of life? The first thing we can do is change our mind about our views and our actions. So I mentioned in 2021, my maternal grandmother, Betty Navy, she made an appointment to abort my mother in 1943, but she changed her mind. We can also speak out. Pope Francis was famous for speaking out strongly against moral evil. So he said in this case, it is not right to do away with the human being, however small, in order to solve a problem. It is like hiring a hitman to solve a problem. And on the positive side, he was very good about expressing the beauty of loving people who are marginalized, like this Canadian baby who had a serious genetic disorder. Also, thanks to our phones, it's a great opportunity. Whenever we're having a discussion with someone about abortion, we can just say, hey, give me 1 second. You pull out your phone and you just say, can I show you a video of what abortion does? You go to that website called liveaction.org and you just show them. What do you think about this? So we want to make the truth known. And finally, this is our 40 Days for Life, our 10-day sign-up sheet. So in blue, two people have signed up. In yellow, one person has signed up for that hour. And then red, no one yet has signed up. A big thank you to the 154 of you who have already signed up. Last year we had 356 people. Amazing, it was our best year ever. So if you have done so in the past, I hope you can sign up again. And if you've never done it before, maybe this can be the first year and you can sign up with someone else so that you're not alone. And now I'd like to show you a video from Birthright about the power of prayer.
I came to Canada in 2021. I have a 2-year-old baby girl. I found out I was pregnant. I had a partner in that moment, but he was not ready to be a dad, he says. So I was just thinking, I don't care if he wants to stay or not. I will have my baby. And, I can do it. It's so fun because you're praying all the time, right? Oh, God, give me the strength to do all this by myself. So I was coming back from work and I was on the SkyTrain station and it's like an angel talked to me. I just opened my eyes at that moment and I saw the advertising of Birthright and I have to give a shot, And I just emailed them. I clearly remember I just said very few words. My name is Fernanda. I'm gonna be a single mom. I was a few weeks along with my pregnancy. I just need to know how you can support me. And then they got back to me really fast, to be honest. Since I came here, this being a safe place where I can share all my thoughts, all my worries. Birthright has been an amazing place. They helped me to find a home for my baby and me. They helped me also with some payments for the rent. They have been helping me with groceries, clothing essentials, diapers, wipes. I don't think I could have made it without them. My ex-partner, he didn't want me to have the baby, right? He wished my pregnancy suddenly got interrupted or something happened. They told me I was having a miscarriage because the baby was not holding enough. So I talked to my parents. Of course, they start praying. And next day, they call me from the hospital to clean everything what is inside. And when they started doing the ultrasound, the doctor told me that the baby's there. They don't have to do anything.
This is our last weekend to sign up for 40 days. I hope we can all do it. You've got the cards in your pews. If you're able to fill them out during the offertory and then put them in the collection basket or give them to the hospitality team, that would be greatly appreciated. And let's end with a story about seeing people as persons and then doing something about it. Now, I hope this story will be the final push to motivate us to sign up and maybe even for more hours. So some of us know the Catholic actor Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus in The Passion of Christ in 2002. And so someone said to him, "You're pro-life." Tell you what, if you're pro-life and you really believe what you say, then adopt a child. And not just a child, but it has to be a child with a serious defect or deficiency. So Jim Caviezel and his wife adopted 2 children from China, both with brain tumors. And this is Jim explaining.
A family would not be easy for Jim and his wife Carrie after several miscarriages.
I always wanted my own stock So I never thought of adopting too much. I didn't think I could love a child like that.
Jim admits being terrified at the possibility of adopting a child with special needs, but knew that's exactly what God wanted him to do.
There was a boy who had a brain tumor, and you could see it in and outside his head, and there was something in his eyes, and I just kept hearing, "Will you love me?" And I said, "Yeah, I love you."
The little boy named Bo had been abandoned on a train and grew up in an orphanage in China until he was 5 and was diagnosed with a life-threatening brain tumor. Jim and Carrie adopted him in 2007. The Caviezel's then decided to adopt again. They chose Lily, a 5-year-old China girl who also had a brain tumor.
When I saw the children, I saw the deformities, but my heart didn't. My heart saw it. They're beautiful, you know? And not that they're just beautiful, they make me beautiful. They make me, the line, they make me want to be a better man. It's true. Love is a decision. And I wish more and more people could realize how beautiful it is, even though that they're biologically not your own. You love them still the same. And the world tells me, you know, hey, you know what? Those children, they're unwanted. And I said, well, I want them. They always tell me about unwanted children. I said, what about them? I got 2 of them. But let me ask you this, does it make them any less a human being? I think they're human. Every day I wake up in the morning, I get on my knees and I thank God for them.
So God has given us the freedom to love people as persons and to choose the culture of life.